about ready? For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Michael Kurtz and I'm president of Clearview Gardens. I want to welcome everyone here for coming out on this night. It's a very important evening. This is a very serious issue, and it's an important one. And as you'll see as the evening unfolds, it's going to take a collaborative effort, not only from the elected officials we have here, from our attorneys, from you as well, because legislation has to be passed to cure some of these things, and campaigns such as write-in campaigns and sit-ins and whatever else we need to do, we're going to have to do, and we need everyone's participation, and I'm glad we have such a turnout like this. I'm sorry we don't have enough seats. We really didn't think we were going to get this large a turnout, but we are happy that you're here. In the audience, we have not only shareholders from Clearview Gardens, we have shareholders from other corporations as well. We have people who own condos, because unit holders are affected from this also. Some of the people that are here that are represented are other co-ops of Bay Terrace Corporation Section 7, Bay Terrace Section 1, Glen Oaks Village, Georgetown Mews, Beach Hills, Ryder Point, Cambridge Hall, Hilltop Village, just to name a few. They're represented here by their presidents. Now, before we start, I want to introduce Clearview's Board of Directors. Representing the First Corporation, we have Bonnie Hanya and Steve Mullins. Myself and Ed Osterman represent the second. Colette Carbone, Mark Samet represent the third. Michael Schaefer and David Fish the fourth. Ingrid Massa, Chris Iacono represent the fifth. Alan Nadler and Evan Oken represent the sixth. Next, I want to introduce and thank again our elected officials. Our elected officials already have been on board from day one. Not only are they participating in this meeting, they've participated in other town halls, they've participated in the Community Board 7, and as part of their duties as elected officials, they've had their own internal meetings with the Department of Finance and the Commissioner and everything. And they've really extended themselves. And I want to introduce each one of them. Sitting right here, we have State Senator Toby Stavisky. State Assemblyman Ed Braunstein. City Councilman Mark Webrin. City Councilman Dan Halloran. David Webrin is scheduled to be here. I don't know if he's been held up or anything. Not held up in a bad sense, but I don't know if he's been delayed. But he is scheduled to be here. Also, I'd like to introduce, we have Mark Samet, Clearview's treasurer. We have Stanley Greenberg's, Clearview's outside accountant. Sitting at the far table, we have Mark Hankin and Jeff Mazel of the Not only are they Clearview's attorneys, but should we have to take legal action on behalf of this issue, they will represent the legal action that has to take place. On the end, we have Bob Friedrich, who's president of Glen Oaks Village, and Warren Sharp, who is president of Bay Terrace Section 1. They represent also the President's Co-op Council, which a lot of the presidents in the Northeastern Queens District belong to. They'll get into it a little later. My comments are going to be brief, because on this issue, you need to hear what's going on from these people. You need to hear what they've done, what they plan on doing, and their involvement. The issue basically is the new assessments that the Department of Finance has put upon everybody. They reassessed the properties this year over last year. They have the right to do it. But what happened is, a few weeks ago, our general manager opened his mail from the Department of Finance. In it, he sees there's a double-digit increase on the assessed value from this year to last year. He immediately notified the board. I started making calls to a lot of the co-op presidents, and I said, did you guys get mail? Do you have the same problem we have? Lo and behold, not only did they have the same problem, but a lot of their increases are in the high double digits Some of them are even in the high triple-digit increases. Now, Senator Stavisky, sitting right here, has the dubious distinction of living in Crider Point. It's a wonderful place. Crider Point's increased assessed valuation last year to this year is 147%. To break it down very quickly, assuming last year was $1 million, this year it's $2,470,000. That's absurd, and there's really no reason for it. The issue we have is, what can we do about it? There's two facets to this. The first is, years ago, and I'm sure Dan Halloran will explain exactly the history of how this came about, because I heard him before. The state decided to classify co-ops as a Class 2 property. A Class 2 property, unlike a Class 1, which is made up of 1, 2, and 3 family, 1 family house, 2 family houses, and 3 family houses. A Class 2 property contains rental properties, co-ops, condos, and commercial properties. Now, this was mandated by the state. How it came to be, we don't know. That's the first problem that's wrong. Because, as you'll find out later, the calculation is done completely differently than it is for Class 1s. The amount that you can be increased from one year to the next is totally different from Class 1 to Class 2. So the first problem is to fix it long term. Long term, it requires the state legislature to change some laws. They have to reclassify us as Class 1 or some other classification. Senator Stavisky is going to address that, and I'm sure the others will as well. The second and most immediate and important problem we have is this new assessed valuation is scheduled to take place July 1st. Unless we get some sort of mitigation on the part of the Department of Finance, starting July 1st, everybody's going to have to start paying more money, because that's the new calculation. Whether it's right or wrong, that's the current law. There are ways to fight this. There's a way you can go to the tax commission and ask for a reduction. If that fails, you can go for certiorari proceedings. Our attorneys will explain a little bit about that. But for right now, that's the immediate situation. We have to stop the assessment from happening July 1st.